studying to become a trauma therapist, and a lot of the work that we do is examining our own internal biases. When I think about drawing the circle wide, I think about how much I have to address my own internal biases. The idea that the country that we live in was in many ways founded on a very tight circle, where there was a very small amount of people who were included in the circle of power, the circle of agency. Deep down, there's a circle, right, that we were taught. Looking at my own internal biases, I think really is the work. How many of those same people are the same gender? How many of those people share the same sexual identity? How many of those people are in your age group? How many of those people are in your socioeconomic class? Humbling for all of us to look at our lists and look at the ways we draw our circles. And I won't actually be a part of any circle that's widening, right, until I'm able to really look at who do I associate with? For the first part of my life, I really saw the voice as a tool for performance. There was this sort of community aspect of it growing up in a church. That's its own thing. And then sort of as I was growing up, I thought, oh, the voice is a thing I'm going to use to perform. Therapy, right, as a great need. Mental health as a extremely important topic in our world today. Breath and voice are ways that we sort of bridge the gap between our thinking brain and our autonomic nervous system, and we tell our body we're safe. Being among others where you're inherently safe in a world that often doesn't feel safe. So the idea of using your voice for your own body and health, particularly in an environment where you're doing it together for the purpose of community, those two things together, I cannot imagine two more powerful things for our own mental and physical and emotional health. What I wanted to say was just how excited I am to be able to sing with this choir, and what a gift it is every time I get to sing with a group of people. I love singing in a choir more than almost anything in life. I went back to school to get my degree in music. I was a little bit older in life. Now I look back now, like I wasn't that old, but it felt old when I was sitting next to the 18-year-olds. I went to Portland State University and was in the jazz program there. And then as part of that degree, I had to, as a music major, sing in the choir. I think I would say the most profoundly beautiful musical experience I have ever had in my life. Again, like I'm literally preaching to the choir. What happens when people come together to do something together rather than push in front to be in the front? It's just healing. The very first time after we had been in the pandemic, came down to Portland for the Portland State Chamber Choir sang, and they closed with Aho, a song that I had written that they had arranged, and Ethan invited us down. It's the first time I had heard live music in since, it'd been over 2 years, I hadn't heard live music in my ears. I'm tearing up just thinking about it. And Ethan got the whole choir, around. He does the thing, he circled around. They started singing, and the first note they started singing, tears. My shoulders were shaking. It's like we were crying so hard. I was trying not to move, to distract from people behind me because I was so overcome. It's the human voice in that setting, the human voice as a way to reach just directly through to your heart there's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it.